Honestly, I think most people don't get the full scope of what Pennywise is all about. When we talk about horror icons, what comes to mind? Jason Voorhees, that unstoppable zombie with a machete, or Michael Myers, the embodiment of pure, silent evil. They're badass, no joke, killing machines powered by raw physical strength and supernatural endurance that defies logic. But in my opinion, Pennywise, the dancing clown, is in a whole other league, literally another dimension. Comparing Pennywise to those guys is like comparing a shark to a black hole. The shark's scary, but the black hole, it swallows light itself. It warps the fabric of the universe. And that's where the key difference lies, the real cosmic horror of our clown. While Jason and Michael feed on flesh and blood, Pennywise feeds on something way more subtle, more personal, and that's why it's way more terrifying. Fear. He's not just a physical monster, he's a psychological predator who knows the human mind better than any shrink, and he uses that to tear us apart from the inside out. He's the manifestation of our vulnerabilities, a twisted mirror that reflects the worst and most irrational parts of us, and that's why he's different from any other movie monster, and that's why his anatomy, if you can even call it that, is the starting point for understanding the horror he represents. The clown form is just the bait, the colorful, grotesque shell hiding a truth that would make our minds collapse in seconds. What we're doing here is kind of like a metaphysical autopsy, a nerdy and dark breakdown of how this entity works, from the sadistic smile to his origins in the macroverse. Buckle up, because we're diving into the physical, mental, and supernatural layers of a being that doesn't just break the laws of physics, but the laws of sanity too. The first thing we gotta understand is that the clown's physical body is a lie, a chosen form, not his true biology. It's his work outfit, the perfect disguise to lure in the tastiest prey, kids. But even that shell is bizarre, a masterpiece of body horror. Pennywise, in clown form, totally ignores human anatomy. He can stretch his arms in inhuman ways, open his mouth into an abyss of jagged teeth that defies any earthly creature's bone structure, and sprout extra limbs like claws or tentacles in seconds. Think about it. Biologically or pseudo-scientifically, how would an organism pull off changing its density, size, and body structure that easily? The answer's simple: it couldn't. Pennywise's body is a violation of the physics and biology we know. He doesn't have muscles, bones, or organs like us. He's made of something more pliable, more malevolent, some kind of interdimensional dark matter that shapes itself to his will. When he twists, when his mouth opens into a toothy black hole, it's not magic tricks. It's his true cosmic nature leaking into our reality for a brief, terrifying moment. It's proof that the clown form is just a suggestion, an interface he uses to interact with our world. He uses fear like seasoning, but his shape-shifting ability is his most powerful weapon. He becomes whatever you fear most, and that transformation is instant, perfect, because he's not bound by our biology. He's like a glamour, a creature that feeds on belief and fear, and his physical form is just a reflection of the terror he projects. He doesn't need a circulatory system, a skeleton, or a nervous system. He's the energy of fear itself, condensed into a form our minds can barely process. And it's that malleability that makes him so resilient. You can shoot, stab, or burn the clown, but he'll pull himself back together, because the physical form is disposable, just an avatar. The real Pennywise is somewhere else, watching, laughing at our pointless efforts. And that's where we get into the real dimension of his power, the supernatural and cosmic side. The ability to shapeshift, create illusions, and manipulate local reality in Derry is just the tip of the iceberg. What really defines Pennywise, his vital essence, are the Deadlights. Described as spinning, radiant white or orange lights, the Deadlights are his true cosmic form, something that exists in the macroverse, the dimension he came from, also known as the Todash darkness in Stephen King's mythology. Staring straight at the Deadlights is like looking at the unfiltered face of the universe, and the effect is devastating. Instant death or permanent insanity. The human mind just isn't equipped to handle that sight. It's cosmic horror in its purest form. Pennywise uses the Deadlights like hypnosis, a way to paralyze and incapacitate his victims before devouring them. He opens his mouth, and deep in his throat is the abyss, the void, the truth. And that truth is that he's way more than a monster. He's a cosmic entity that preys on fear, an extra-dimensional parasite that feeds on our soul's insanity. He's not an ancient god, but he's the closest thing our reality has to one. He's the brother of Maturin, the turtle, a benevolent entity that barfed up our universe. That puts Pennywise on a power level that blows past our understanding. He's not just breaking the laws of physics, he's operating on a reality level where those laws don't apply. He can pop up anywhere in Derry, mess with the weather, erase memories, and create a collective denial field that makes the town's adults just ignore the horrors going down. That's not psychology, it's straight-up violation of physics and reality. He's a being that exists between dimensions, and his presence in Derry is just a partial manifestation of his full power. But what makes Pennywise such an effective predator is his mental and psychological chops. He's not some mindless animal. He's a sadistic intelligence with a twisted sense of humor and a childlike cruelty that makes him even more disturbing. He gets off on toying with his victims, dragging out the terror, because fear is his favorite flavor. He reads fear like an open book, taps into his victims' deepest memories and traumas, and uses that to craft the most customized, terrifying forms possible. He doesn't need a psych textbook. He gets human instincts, our weaknesses, and emotional triggers better than anyone. He knows clown fear is universal, but he also knows that fear of an abusive dad, a terminal illness, or childhood trauma is way more potent, way tastier. He's a master manipulator, a ventriloquist of terror who turns our own minds against us. He doesn't need brute strength to beat us. He just needs to convince us we're hopeless, that our fear is real, and our death is inevitable. And that's his biggest achievement, the ability to affect a whole group of people and the town of Derry, creating a collective amnesia, a cycle of violence and denial that repeats every 27 years. He doesn't just devour kids, he devours their memories, their history, the hope that things could change. He's the cycle of violence, the ancient evil that never truly dies. Pennywise's feats are mind-blowing and put him on a power level most horror monsters couldn't even dream of. He can mutilate and devour kids without leaving much evidence, which takes not just strength and cruelty, but the ability to manipulate perception and reality around him. He bends and twists environments, sewers, abandoned houses, streets, to his will, turning everyday spots into personalized nightmares. He shrugs off physical attacks that would destroy any normal creature and rebuilds his body in grotesque ways, proving his physical form is just an illusion. But his biggest feat, what really sets him apart, is his mental influence and longevity. He can affect an entire group of people and the town of Derry, wiping memories, covering up events, and creating a collective denial field. He's behind a cycle of violence and tragedy that repeats every 27 years, a cycle only broken by the power of belief and unity from the Losers Club. Compared to other monsters, Pennywise is like a god. Freddy Krueger, for example, only has power in the dream world. Pennywise has power in our world and the macroverse. Jason and Michael are strong and tough, but they're bound by physics. Pennywise ignores physics. He's the embodiment of cosmic horror, a being that's existed since before our civilization and will keep going long after our species is gone. He's proof that evil isn't just destructive, it's creative, feeding off our imagination and fear. And that brings us to his origins, cycle, and immortality. Pennywise wasn't born, he arrived. His cosmic origins tie him to the macroverse, a void that contains and surrounds our universe. The clown is just a shell, an avatar for something way bigger, something our minds can't even grasp. He crashed to Earth in a cataclysmic event, like an asteroid, and settled in Derry's depths, waiting for humans, his favorite prey, to show up. The 27-year cycle is his feeding pattern. He wakes up, feeds on kids' fear and terror, then hibernates, waiting for the next harvest. That cycle is how he ensures his survival and longevity. The showdown with the Losers Club, as kids and adults, is the story's core. The moment when belief and unity become the only weapons that can hurt this cosmic entity. They don't beat him with physical force, but with the strength of their friendship, courage, and belief that he can be defeated. They force him into his closest physical form to reality, the giant spider, and wound him fatally. But the big question, the deep thought that lingers is, does Pennywise really die? Or does he just change states, retreat to the macroverse, waiting for the next cycle, the next chance? The cosmic entity hiding behind the clown is immortal, and his defeat is just temporary. He's the evil that never truly dies, the cycle of violence that repeats, proof that cosmic horror is always lurking, waiting for the right moment to return. Let's dig a bit deeper into Pennywise's physical and biological anatomy, or better yet, his pseudo-anatomy. What we see is a form that defies our understanding of life. When the clown manifests, he's not just disguising himself. He's projecting a physical form from extra-dimensional energy. That means every detail, from the exaggerated smile to the hypnotic yellow eyes, is a deliberate choice, a hunting tool. The clown is the most efficient form for his purpose, luring and terrorizing. The skin, the fabric, the clown outfit, all of it is a manifestation of will. Think about the scene where he turns into a werewolf or a mummy, or even the giant spider. Those transformations aren't slow mutations. They're instantaneous, like swapping outfits in a cosmic blink. This suggests his biology is based on a principle that quantum physics might start to touch, but earthly biology could never explain. We could theorize that Pennywise operates in a constant quantum superposition state, existing in all possible forms at once, and our perception, guided by fear, collapses that into one terrifying form. When he grotesquely stretches his arm to grab Georgie, He's not elongating muscles and bones, he's bending local space-time so the distance between him and the victim is crossed instantly. His ability to ignore gravity, float, move at impossible speeds, all of it points to a being not subject to our universe's 4 fundamental forces. He's essentially a walking wormhole, a portal between the macroverse and Derry, and what he spits out from that portal are his teeth, his smile, his terror. Sticking with the comparisons to other horror icons, this is where Pennywise cements himself as the alpha predator. Take Jason Voorhees. He's strong, kinda immortal, and relentless. But Jason's limited by his environment. He needs to be at Crystal Lake, or at least somewhere physical. His power is brute force and toughness. Pennywise, on the other hand, creates his environment. He turns the abandoned house into a nightmare maze, makes blood gush from the sink drain, distorts reality so fear is the only law. If Jason ran into Pennywise, the clown wouldn't even need to fight. He'd just turn into Jason's biggest fear, maybe his mom or the water that drowned him, and paralyze him. Jason's a monster of brawn. Pennywise is a monster of brain. And Freddy Krueger? Freddy's the master of the dream world, a predator who feeds on souls in the dream plane. But Freddy needs you to sleep to get you. Pennywise gets you wide awake, on the street, in the sewer, at home. He doesn't need a portal to his dimension. He is the portal. And most importantly, Freddy feeds on souls. Pennywise feeds on fear. Fear's the currency, the energy that sustains him. And fear's a way more abundant, renewable resource than souls. Plus, Pennywise can manipulate reality in the physical world, something Freddy can only do in dreams. If Freddy and Pennywise squared off, it'd be a battle of titans, but Pennywise would have the edge by dragging Freddy into the macroverse, where the clown rules. Michael Myers is the embodiment of evil, a being with no emotions, no fear. And that's where a physical monster might have a shot against Pennywise. Michael has no fear, making him a bland meal for the clown. Pennywise wouldn't get the seasoning he craves, but Pennywise doesn't need fear to kill, he just needs it to feed better. He could just turn into something Michael doesn't get, something that confuses him, or straight up use his cosmic force to disintegrate him. Michael's the resilience of evil. Pennywise is the essence of evil. Pennywise's real strength lies in his ability to affect the town of Derry. He's not just a monster living there, he's the dark soul of the place. He's behind a cycle of violence, accidents, and tragedies that repeat every 27 years. He doesn't just kill kids, he creates the environment for violence to thrive. Derry's adults are kinda his accomplices in his feeding cycle. They turn blind, apathetic, unable to see the horror right under their noses. That collective blindness is Pennywise's biggest mental manipulation feat. He doesn't need an army. Denial is his most powerful weapon. He makes evil the norm, the acceptable, the forgettable. And that's why the Losers Club has to fight not just the clown, but the whole town, the fading memories, the repeating history. His sadistic intelligence is what makes him so fascinating and terrifying. He doesn't kill out of necessity, but for fun. He gets a kick out of his victims' terror, laughs at their escape attempts, toys with them like a cat with a mouse. He's a cosmic sadist, a being who gets human cruelty and amps it up to an interdimensional level. His twisted humor, his kiddie jokes, and his macabre smile prove he's not just a monster, he's a terror artist, a performer using Derry as his horror stage. He's the embodiment of unnecessary evil, gratuitous cruelty, terror without explanation. And it's that lack of logic, that irrationality of evil, that makes him so scary. And finally, the reflection on his immortality. Pennywise is an entity that's existed since before the universe, a being from the macroverse, a void that contains and surrounds our reality. He's primordial evil, the darkness before the light. His defeat by the Losers Club is an act of faith, belief, and unity, a metaphysical ritual that forces him to manifest in a physical form that can be hurt. But his essence, the Deadlights, keeps existing in the macroverse. The clown's death is just the death of an avatar, a manifestation. The thing hiding behind the clown, the cosmic entity, is still out there, waiting for the right moment to return. The 27-year cycle is just a break, a nap he uses to recover and gear up for the next harvest. He's the evil that never truly dies, proof that cosmic horror is always lurking, waiting for the right moment to come back. He's the memory that fades, the history that repeats, the fear that never goes away. Did Pennywise really die? Or is the thing hiding behind the clown just shape-shifted and still watching us from somewhere our minds can't reach? If you dug this dark, nerdy breakdown of Pennywise's anatomy, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more cosmic horror and psychological terror content. And now, the burning question, who would win in a fight, Pennywise or Freddy Krueger? Drop your take in the comments.